Okay, we all know Bishop is a powerful orator, and now he's been given his gift and insight as he helps us understand why we have to speak the words we use, okay, and how we can craft our messages regardless of whether it's for crowds, classrooms, or for thoughts or simple email, effectively to connect with your listeners. So let's make sure that when this book comes out, it's about to be Look who popped back out on us.
He didn't know I was behind you.
I did not.
Neither one of you knew I was behind you. I was back in the back, and I was saying to them that kind of preaching is why I wrote "Don't Drop the Mic." That kind of preaching must remain in the earth. And it's part of our heritage, it's part of our culture, and it's part of our experience to aggressively go after souls with that level of passion. Is something that I don't want to end with our generation. Right. So Don't Drop the Mic is my attempt to say to you, what we do is unique. It's not from a university. And nothing wrong with universities. It's not from a textbook. It comes from the very depths of our being, and it came down through our ancestry, and it is part of our legacy. And nobody can do it like those whose heart is open to it. And I wrote "Don't Drop the Mic" because the guard is changing. The generations are changing, but the message must remain the same. Yes. Love you.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know what else to say after that. We got our father out on the stage with us at the post show talking about the message cannot change and the messengers are shifting. And we've got the fathers and the sons, the mothers and the daughters. The times are changing. But Bishop, you wrote this book. I've read the first chapter of it already.
Yeah.
And I did cheat a little bit. but this book, and I'm just going to ask you one question. What was on your mind? What are you seeing? Let me ask you that. What are you seeing in the next generation?
I see it. I see traces of it. But for the devil said they're going to have to fight, I need to see more of it. I think the next generation is brilliant and smart, and many of them are hungry. They have their fair share of charlatans, just like we did. But there's enough that are really sincerely after God to carry it forward. But I think it is our responsibility to make it easier for you by leaving clues. Destiny always leaves clues so that you won't have to spend 40 years finding something when I know exactly where it is. And see, I know where it is. And I was in the back and I was telling my wife and them, I said, you can't preach like that from your head. You have to preach like that from your heart, and it costs so much to open up that much of yourself to reach somebody, that when Jesus says, take up your cross, every time you preach like that, you are nailed to it. You bleed for it. You give up yourself to do it. And what you give up is resurrected in the people that hear you. And I was sitting back there in the chair and they said, anything wrong with you? Are you okay? I said, I'm fine, but the virtue's gone out. And so I feel weak, but I'm supposed to feel weak, because when the woman with the issue of blood touched the hem of his garment, even Jesus felt the depletion.
Yes, sir.
And I'm not seeing enough people preach at a deficit, to preach till your heart breaks, to preach till your heart breaks open, to preach till all that matters to me in that moment is reaching you. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that matters. And I want that to continue in the earth. And as I'm seeing my brothers and sisters fade away into the sunset, It is not their leaving that scares me. It's that many of them are leaving without arming the next generation with the tools that they will need to withstand what we had to fight to be here. It was hard to do this. It was so much harder than it looked like. You had to be so tough and withstand so much opposition to do this. And it cost us everything. It cost us everything. And so when you say, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me, you're not just asking for money, you're asking for my life. My mantle is my life. And I want to make sure you don't drop it, because I will not have another one. This is all I have.
First of all, thank you for coming out here and talking to us. There's not many fathers that are doing what you're doing right now, which is what you just said. They're not arming the next generation. And we want to thank you for being out front as an example to help arm the next crew that's coming up on the scene. Some of us are literally afraid because of that. A lot of us talk amongst each other, and we are afraid to take these seats, these stages, to go in the places that you all have gone into, talking to the media, to the politicians, because we don't feel armed. And so I believe this book is going to answer that hole that's in a lot of our minds and our hearts, because we don't know what to do. And a lot of us are afraid, because the generals are gone, that we're just walking up into a space that we're not prepared for.
Let me tell you something. It's so fun. First of all, this wasn't planned, y'all. They didn't know I was coming out here.
This is worth another offering.
This has never happened before, okay? We were scared too.
Wow.
We were scared every day. My brother, when I was growing up, my brother could always fight. He's 7 years older than me. He was my hero. And he would beat up some of everybody, you know. And I thought my brother June Ernest could just do anything. And one day as we became grown men, he told me that he was scared every fight he ever got into. And it helped me so much. Because we were scared too. We are just men, just like you, made of clay, like Peter, like what I was preaching about, like Thomas, like Judas. Like, we're just clay. And to be sent on such a majestic mission is horrifying. It's absolutely horrifying. And to go even further and speak to the world where you are evaluated by a different premise was quite terrifying. But if God be for you, I mean, honest to goodness, fear and all, if God be for you, he will give you what to say and how to maneuver and how to handle yourself. Jesus spent way more time speaking in the streets than he did the synagogues. And I know you're afraid, and that's why God has lengthened our lives so that you get to see up close your fathers. And the fathers, a lot of fathers aren't teaching it because they don't know how. And not every father did it. And you can only give your son what you got. But I promised God I would die empty. I told him I would die empty. I said, if you teach me, I will teach them. And I said this when I was 19. If you teach me, I will teach them. And if you show me, I will show them. And if you lead me, I will lead them. And I will not withhold anything that you give me from your people. And so I want you to know that we're not fearless. And we are not greater men or better men. We're just men. We're just men just like you. And if we did it, you can do it. The Bible said that the prophets were men of like passion. And you have to understand that God uses ordinary people. That's what I was preaching about today.
Yes.
That's the whole substratum of the text. It said Peter was a rock and he was scared. That he was great, but he was weak. That Thomas was courageous enough to go to Jerusalem and then terrified when he got there and saw them beating Jesus. He got out of Dodge. And that Judas tried to come up with a plot that blew up. And he regretted it so bad he killed himself. Jesus used men and women just like us. And we can't keep waiting on superheroes. We are the heroes.
Oh my God.
And it seems ridiculous because you know everything about yourself that contradicts what he calls you to. That's what I'm preaching about. And I just told my wife, I said, preaching that was like preaching God's crippled child because it is so true that it has to come from your heart to preach it. And I want to say to whoever's left online, and it's not commercialization. I'm too close to the Jordan to worry about selling books. I'm trying to impart something to you.
Yes.
I'm trying to leave something to you. I'm trying to tell you something that I learned out of 64 years of living with God. And you give it for your pastors and for your preachers and for your business leaders and for any faith walkers. The only vehicle in which we have to operate our faith is our mouth.
Yes, sir.
You get the deal because of what you said and how you presented it. You become the president of the United States because of the speeches you make. You turn around Jim Crow because of who had the mic. If nobody speaks, nothing changes. So whatever idiom of business or life you're in, don't drop the mic. Don't let the pain of life and the astonishment of your own humanity leave you muted. It's what I'm saying to you. And it's so important. It's so much bigger than book sales and promotions and stuff like that, or commercials. None of the commercials do it justice. The reality is it's coming from a deeper place than that. And it goes all the way back to our ancestors. Before our ancestors had typewriters or computers or pen or paper, we sat by the fire and we told each other who we were. All the way down to the deepest, darkest parts of Africa, our ancestry passed through our mouth. And we were storytellers and orators. And it is part of our heritage. It is part of our culture. It is what we bring as a gift to the rest of the world. White, black, brown, everything is our ability to sit by the fire and tell a story.
I got to be a son and tell him to go sit down, okay? He preached, and now he's giving out. We got to let him go. We love you, Bishop. We love him.